Hi, I'm Brett Parker, multimedia specialist for Dairy Foods magazine. And today we're highlighting Cabot Cheese, who recently received top honors from two major cheese award ceremonies. At the American Cheese Society Awards, Cabot's extra sharp cheddar, white oak cheddar, Monterey Jack, and salted butter took first place awards. Their Alpine cheddar and New York sharp cheddar took second place awards, and their unsalted butter took a third place award. At the International Cheese and Dairy Awards, their white oak cheddar won gold, their Alpine cheddar, salted butter, and 10% plain Greek yogurt won silver, while their pimento cheese spread, sharp cheddar, Alpine cheddar took bronze. Here to discuss this with us is Craig Gile, National Food Service Sales Director of Cabot. Craig, thank you so much for joining us today.
Hi, it's a pleasure, Brett. Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely. So first off, how does it feel to win so many honors at not just one, but two major award ceremonies?
Yeah, I mean, we're kind of over the moon on it, right? Especially when you're making all these dairy products kind of day in and day out and all the resources that we invest in this, it's good to see if we get some accolades out of it. So, like I said, it's extremely important to our farmer owners to show them that, we're taking all this this high quality milk that they're producing and giving to us to turn it into award-winning products.
Now, do you feel Cabot does something methodically different with their cheese as opposed to similar brands in the market?
Yeah, I mean, I think when you always look at kind of where good cheese and dairy products come from, it always starts with the milk. So I've always been a pretty big fan of, being a farmer-owned cooperative, having that kind of added kind of connection and tightness to the source of the milk, right? So I think one thing Cabot's always had is, it's not just the milk coming in on a truck and then we do testing to see, what kind of quality milk we're working with to produce this product, but we already have the relationships with our owners that are producing it. We're one of the programs that we do in-house is that we have kind of a field rep program, right? Where it's these kind of experts that are out in the field that kind of work, as a resource with the farmers to kind of communicate between the farmers of, just different quality practices, right? And I think, that added investment, I think, goes a long way to making sure that kind of the quality of the milk that's coming from, from these farmers is kind of top notch. So, because I mean, no matter how good of a practice you have on the cheese make process, if you're not getting like the most top quality milk, it's kind of hard to make anything, uh, to make any award-winning products that way. So, and then, once it comes in that way, yeah, it's just been, and we've got a lot of long-time cheese makers there. We've got lot of long-time relationships in the industry when it comes to kind of, some of our cultured specialists that we work with out in the field to kind of make sure that we kind of have some of the best recipes around. So.
Well, aside from finding quality milk, what would you say are some of the other biggest challenges in crafting exceptional cheese products as opposed to just simply good cheese products?
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of it. So one of the things that we're lucky about being a, farmer-owned cooperative for over 100 years is that we've been able to kind of build our customer base up around kind of what our profile, what kind of a profile we want to offer, right? So I think one of the things our main, while we sell across the country, our main hub is kind of the Northeast along the East Coast, Mid-Atlantic down to Florida. And that group of customers, they like kind of big, bold, kind of intense flavored cheese, right? There's plenty of customers throughout the country, but specifically in this section, we've got a customer base that just loves these big flavors. So it kind of allows us to kind of go really big, for our flavor development, which isn't always the case with with a lot of the other cheese makers out there. So yeah, so I think that's a big part of it is just making sure we have this arrangement with customers that hey, we'll kind of make these really big, extreme, memorable flavors, and hopefully the customers keep buying them. So I think that's been a benefit for us.
Well, if a food company wants to initiate standards of excellence in everything that they produce, what advice would you give them?
Yeah, I mean, I think so. I'm a little biased because I used to be a cheese grater, cheese taster within Cabot, but I think for us, kind of one of the big secrets was, we put a lot of investment in our cheese graters, right? So, we were constantly involved with, a lot of the cheese we were grading at 3 or 4 weeks old, and then every 3 or 4 weeks or months after that. So, and that was a lot of kind of driving around New England and New York to evaluate this cheese constantly, enter it into databases. With all that info, we have a whole staff that kind of crunches those numbers. So I think, we've always had a huge focus on, this kind of evaluation of the product throughout the entire life cycle. And I think, coming up with like a sophisticated like sensory program within house, I think it's really important to do because part of what we were able to do with cheese graters after we evaluated it, we have all these notes, it's all in the database. Then we could sit down, we could go back to the cheese makers, let them know what we're seeing, bring samples back. And then, on the other end of it, we're kind of hopefully predicting where we want this cheese to go back to it every few months. Okay, is this in line with where we want it to go? Again, go back with the cheese makers. So yeah, it was just a lot of like investment on Cabot's end onto kind of the sensory evaluation through the entire aging process.
So does Cabot have any exciting new cheese products we can all look forward to on the horizon?
Yeah, so I think we've got one that we just launched where we're kind of stepping outside the cheddar realm for a bit. And we started producing a Gouda in-house. So, and we've got that we've just launched, and that's going to be in formats of, kind of 8-ounce dairy bars. We've got them in our 7-ounce cracker cut. We're coming out with them in our 2-pound brick and a 5-pound loaf. So I'd love, hopefully we get a chance from what we've seen with customers have already kind of had a chance to sample this. The reaction's been really positive. So kind of really looking forward to launching all these products.
Well, that's great to hear. Well, that's all the time that we have for today. Craig Gile of Cabot, thank you so much for joining us today. We really appreciate it.
All right. And from all of our farmer owners, thank you for taking the time. We appreciate it.
Absolutely. And thank you all for watching.